Do you want to know what the best thing about AEW is? The fact that it exists. And now you are so angry I have said that, you are just throwing eggs at the screen. How dare you? Regret doing that. It's my house. But it is true though, I do love WWE, but the absolutely greatest thing about professional wrestling is when you have two massive companies duking it out because competition is just best all round. And this doesn't mean that it's perfect or you can't criticize it. You absolutely can. But over the last 3 years or so, I've been having a ball. A lot has happened to All Elite Wrestling ever since it was born in 2019. To the point, they're just a thing now. The newness has gone, the shine has gone. They are an established wrestling company. But that also means they're about to be tested like never before. Why? Here's why. Now, of course, the internet will construe this as a bad thing, but that is not so, because any major company worth their salt is going to have to go through some tricky times. And recently, when it comes to AEW, that's their plans going flying out the window, because CM Punk is injured, Bryan Danielson is injured, Kenny Omega is still injured, Jeff Hardy is just struggling and desperately needs some help. Now, of course, the most important thing with all of those four names is they do nurse themselves back to health, but you know, AEW has never really experienced this before. I mean, it's quite clear that the company was about to build around Punk, hence why they put the title on him, and why the flub wouldn't you? I mean, just go look at the metrics and the numbers. He was the biggest star, and any time you can take your major championship and wrap it round the waist of the person that's meant to be the top guy, well, that just helps all round. Then literally days after he won it, he was gone because wrestling can be so cruel, and in the interim, everyone was hanging around going, well, we haven't seen Danielson for a little while. And then he turned up on Dynamite to address the Forbidden Door pay-per-view and Blood and Guts and said, I'm really sorry, but I'm hurt too. So that broke hearts all over the place. And if you want to tell me that the American Dragon is 1B, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, it's one of the reasons that every single time either CM Punk or Bryan does an interview, they go, oh, maybe one day we can have another match. And look, trust me, eventually we're going to get there. And I bet the championship is on the line. The extra bit of spice does come in the form of MGF, and who the hell knows what's happening with that? Because ever since we did that work shoot angle, we haven't seen him on television, and I, for one, can't wait to see how it's going to unfold. And it certainly did divide opinion, but it also got people talking. But nobody at this stage knows when he's going to come back to television, and really, you want to hold off on this as long as possible. I mean, in terms of the story and the kayfabe part of it, he took a microphone and he said the F word on a live broadcast. I mean, if you did that on any other show, you would be fired. So this now means whatever AEW had up its sleeve is now gone, and all our key personnel are also going to be absent without leave for a while, so it's time to shake it up. And when you do look at the landscape, it's almost like we planned for this. Because a lot has been said about the roster that Tony Khan has been able to put together, both the good and the bad. But at this very juncture, if you're able to rally the troops, then this is going to become such a useful tool. I mean, a common criticism of WWE at the moment is that if Roman Reigns isn't on television, we lack some stars, and that SmackDown number recently did kind of go to show how powerful the head of the table is. And while you can't replace a CM Punk, you can certainly try and make good. So the test that I am referring to the title is nice and simple. Take a Jungle Boy, take a Dante Martin, take a Chris Statlander, take a Darby Allin again for the second or third time, and try and use these people to plug these holes while also planning for the future. And if you're now saying towards the screen, but Simon, this is what AEW did before. Yeah, and it was great, and we've kind of moved away from that, so why not use this opening to start doing it again? And it just doesn't have to be there either, because we can go to the old guard too. Let's make Jon Moxley the damn champion again and put the company on his back. Let's remind people we have Chris Jericho on our books. Keep sending the Young Bucks out there to have 5-star matches and do whatever you can with Miro. That last one doesn't really tie in, but I'm a big fan of Miro. I saw opportunity, so I wanted to jump on it. This can be expanded too, because you've got Jade Cargill tearing up all over the place, you've got Britt Baker, who is quite obviously a star, and you've got Thunder Rosa, who has this connection with the fans. Because going back to what I just said, for a while, so many people have been like, oh, the promotion has gone away from its roots. Well, you can easily get back to that while also drawing other things into it. So let's do that and raise everybody's game. I mean, do you really think that Wardlow doesn't have the potential to be a tippy-top guy? Of course he does. I mean, look at me, I'm looking up. And I do think a lot of these issues have come about due to the fact that AEW only has 3 hours of television, and Rampage has gone off the ball a little bit. And I am not saying to add any more. 3 hours is more than enough. But if everything you were going to do from the summer, you now can't do, well, why don't you try and recapture some of this essence? And I don't even care if you want to take someone like Daniel Garcia and his Kangol hat and throw him into the main event. I mean, have you seen the guy? He's really good. So in summary, it's just going to be an interesting time because we've never been here before. It's like when Cody Rhodes announced he was going to go back to the WWE and we were all floored. It's because it was the first time it had happened. And believe you me, the next time someone does this, of course we'll talk about it and of course we'll speculate about it, but it will never get you in the tum-tum the same way, because that honor will always be with the American Nightmare. I mean, one day you'll just look at a program and go, oh, right, there's Darby Allin on Raw. No, not Darby Allin. If Darby Allin ever went to WWE, everyone would be like, how the flub did this happen? But you take my point. So this will be the first of many trials and tribulations to come, and I am absolutely here for it, because every single promotion that ever came into this world had to have its ups and downs. Naturally. So just don't get too carried away for it. Remember that it's wrestling, and remember its sole purpose is to entertain you. So no matter what happens, if you walk away going, man, I feel so good right now, then everything is going to be all right with the world. And if not, you can just go back to those eggs again, which I've now realized 10 minutes later is basically Twitter. That's what we do on social media. We throw word eggs at each other. Maybe we should stop. I know I've said this once, maybe even twice, but I'll say it thrice. None of this is a negative thing. You can go to any promotion or any company in the entire world, and if they truly want to embed themselves and they truly want to be around for the long term, you have to go through some crazy times and come out the other side going, oh my gosh, even though that was horrible, we totally dealt with it. And it's not like there isn't 1,000 ways to get around this. I mean, do not forget in the early 2000s, at one point, the WWE lost Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. But what did they do? They looked at the roster and they started to rise other people. And so far, AEW has proven they're happy to do that time and time again. So even though this is properly sad and we send all our best to these wrestlers, I actually think you could even find a silver lining that would please everybody. Do not forget there is always the secret sauce to this as well, and that ties into Cody Rhodes when he returns to WWE. If you do their big comebacks right, not only are you going to spark a massive rating, but you will create moments that people don't forget forever, and it doesn't matter what else happens in this crazy world of sports entertainment. Moments are the things that make you love the thing, because they make you feel so damn good. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know what you think about all of this. How is AEW going to survive without the likes of CM Punk, or will they be absolutely fine? I mean, the answer is, of course, they will be. But make sure you have a nice and fair and respectful debate. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com where you can read yourself some articles. Make sure you come follow us on social media, because that's what we do in 2022. And by Jove, we have some more videos. Watch one. My name is Simon What Culture. Thank you for joining me, and Krang, as always. I love Krang. That's why I wanted to throw him in there. Krang is like my hero. And look, there's all jacked in this t-shirt. I don't know why I decided to end this video talking about my clothes. It wasn't planned. Somebody get me a script. Goodbye.